Chapter 6 Hawkins Mansion. Pierce woke up in an asylum installed in the cellars of the Riverside Institute. He met Dr. Colden, a female friend of Bradley, who helped him to escape, wandering through the corridors of this place where Dr. Fuller reigns supreme. Pierce was able to talk to a man called Francis Sanders before dying in full view of the detective. Yeah, he was lifted off the air and thrown around like a rag doll. He accused Sarah Hawkins of being the cause of his torments. Pierce finally left the accursed building, accompanied by Bradley and Colden. That's not really what happened, right? I met Bradley, I guess, yeah. Companions in misfortune decided to use the Hawkins mansion as a hideout, even though it's connected. It's linked to the institute, right?
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink.
Fine, Bradley. Their voices are so low. Hawkins Manor. I finally reached the stairs that led to the first floor of the Riverside Institute. But on my way, I inhaled some gas that was leaked from a damaged pipe, and I passed out. I remember Bradley alive? Really? Who was talking to me? And I came to in the Hawkins mansion. I must understand what I'm doing here and what happens next. Okay, got 4 points here. Let's go ahead and max out my investigation, and let's put some into hidden spot. Oh, how do I validate? No. The death of Francis Sanders. The weirdness of Francis Sanders' death went far beyond anything Pierce had ever seen. Lifted off his feet by an invisible force, the poor man's body was carried into the air before being thrown violently against the bars of his hiding place. He wasn't hiding, he was a prisoner. Pierce, powerless, watched the limbs break and Saunders' body crumble to the ground. During long moments of agony, the detective saw nothing that could explain this event. Weakened by his wounds and the operations he could remember undergoing, Pierce begins to question his ability to tell the difference between reality and the nightmares that haunt him. Sanity, I am shaken. Okay. The ordeals you have gone through have left their mark, but you still manage as best you can. You keep your mind busy in order to chase away doubts and painful memories. You still have some way to go. Who knows where your mind could lead you along the paths of insanity? Oh, I didn't read this one, did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah. So now we have Francis Saunders, who is dead. Sellers of the Riverside Institute. In my inventory, I have those books. I don't have access to any of my items.
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Well, they cleaned up the table. I think there was stuff on that table. I was lying on the couch. I was like, wait, what was I laying on? They
You're
cleaned.
awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
I don't know what my mic is picking up. It's so annoying.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
And the other thing is, I don't know what progresses and doesn't progress, right? I thought it was exclamation points. But then other times I do these, and these progress. What they had me endure.
I have flashbacks. They haunt me.
What did they do to you?
There was that Dr. Fuller and a nurse. Blood everywhere. My legs, the pain, I couldn't bear it. I was screaming. They injected me with something. I woke up at the institute. Bradley was there.
And how you scared us. You seemed demented.
You likely woke up during the anesthesia. No wonder those memories haunt you. What in God's name were they doing to you?
What happened afterwards?
When I woke up the second time, I was in a padded cell. That's where you found me, Doctor. After you released me, I got a good look at what's in store for the patients of the Riverside Institute. Hallucinogenic gas pumped into the cells. An infernal machine. Horrific medical experiments.
Impossible. Dr. Fuller would never do such a thing.
You should believe it, Ethan. What Mr. Pierce saw is precisely what I've been trying to prove. Did you discover anything else?
I might be on to a lead.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
A sort of crisis. No, he called him the Shambler.
I didn't see what, but something was there with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
Yeah, she doesn't need to know that he was tortured, right? She does need to know the truth. I am a detective.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
See, that made it to where I didn't get to talk to them.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
So now I just don't get to talk to them.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
Is there anything else here? No, I'm not going to drink more whiskey. Alright, this is still Chapter 6. Saunders' residence. Pierce, Colden, and Bradley decided to team up to solve the Sarah Hawkins case. They have a new trail to follow. Francis Sanders, an art collector and friend of the painter, who died right in front of Pierce. The detective goes to his house in order to speak to his widow about the shambler that the unfortunate man mentioned before he died.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
Our paths crossed, briefly. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
Alright, dang, I was thinking of something and I've already forgotten what it was. That screaming right before my eyes. He was no longer there when it happened. Taking it quite well. She's the one who had him committed. That's what I was going to say. You're taking it quite well.
I expected to find you more grief-stricken than this by the death of your husband.
I do not like the tone of your allusion, sir. I had long months to weep every tear in my body, and to accept, if not my fate, at least that of my husband. And so I'm sorry to disappoint you if you're expecting more hysteria and grieving widow in my voice. Rest assured, however, my anger is real. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
Well, I didn't tell you it was right before my eyes. It was her. I'm not going to accuse her. The true culprit is Fuller.
So ask Fuller. He's the eminent doctor. But I would caution you. You'll find his treatments more terrifying than the illnesses he sets out to cure.
That churl no longer takes the trouble to receive me. He sends his secretary to tell me that I cannot see Francis. Me, his own widow. He must think that I am a terrible wife for having abandoned him in such a way. But I only wanted what was best for him.
I'm not here to condemn you, Mrs. Sanders.
Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Also, didn't those other two come with me? Did he speak to you of... Oh, no. What is Kat doing here?
May I ask you what Miss Baker is doing here? How do you know her?
My business with Miss Baker is private, Mr. Pierce.
But you do know what kind of business Miss Baker is in, don't you?
I am no fool. Please believe that much, at least.
Alright, did he ever speak to you of a shambler?
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
Oh, I didn't know that was going to end it because it was an unlocked thing. Oh, dang it. I didn't get to ask him about Sarah. Obviously, she thought Sarah and him were having an affair. That's what I'm going with here.
Did she really care for him after all?
Letter of refusal. Dear Madame, I acknowledge receipt of the letter in which you demand the body of your deceased husband. I'm sorry to inform you that I cannot agree to return his body to you. At the moment of his internment, you signed a discharge, allowing me to dispose of his body as I see fit. I extend my deepest condolences to you, Thomas Fuller. Sounds
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
I can always rotate these, but there's no point. There's nothing to them. Photograph of Sarah Hawkins next to the Sanders. They must be close. We don't need to reconstruct yet. Oh, that looks like a hidey hole. I'm going to steal her book on medicine. The Breviary of Medicine, Tome 2. I'm borrowing that. Figured I should let you know. Because, you have let me into your home. How do I get my lighter out? There we go. My torch. Hey, I got this torch because your house is too dark. Maybe invest in better lighting. This candle here doesn't do too much for me. You also didn't tell me where the gallery is, so I am free to roam your house. Figured I should let you know that as well.
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
Saunders Session 1. Edison Gold Molded Record. An audio recording that Francis Sanders left for his wife, Irene. Hey, I'm taking that. Just figured you should know that. I'm just taking things that belong to you. Okay. That's probably story progression. Let's do what we needed to do here first. Let's reconstruct. So it's only in this room, but there's nothing in this room to reconstruct. Oh, I didn't enter it. I thought I did. Okay. Psychology?
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. A house of artists.
Investigation.
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom?
Psychology on Irene.
Was she jealous of Sarah Hawkins?
That's pretty obvious. Psychology on Sarah.
She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
Can I psychology him? No. I can use occultism on this.
The Shambler. I need to see it.
That's right, he ripped his eyeballs out. Hey, your husband ripped his eyeballs out. Right over there, where your piano is. Got something for you. You don't mind if I just...
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Is that just the same one? I think so. It makes it look like there was multiple things. Was I supposed to memorize that tone of the piano? Oh!
Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it?
Art and Mysticism, Forgotten Objects by Francis Saunders. Art and Mysticism, Forgotten Objects is a collection written by Francis Saunders, whatever it is. In it, he catalogs and categorizes objects from all ages and origins that are linked to occult or mystical practices. It is opened at the page of a dagger that bears a symbol that is not known to me. We've seen that symbol before in his room. What do you mean? Wait, isn't this the painting? No, never mind. I thought that was the painting of, Sarah. Oh, I'm going insane. Because that painting had blood on it until I brought the lights up. Wait, so is she not really crying over here? No, she's crying. Oh, gosh. That's not what you want to see. Trying to see if any of the other ones are hallucinations. That's, I believe, Moby Dick. I think that was the only hallucination. Those are skulls. Let's go ahead and into the room with Cat. Hi, Cat.
I could use one of those.
Found these sleeping pills in the Saunders house. Were they prescribed to Francis or to Irene?
Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing.
Letter to by Sarah Hawkins. Dear Francis, I beg you to give up all hope of ever owning this accursed painting. If our friendship has any meaning for you, please spare me the weight of guilt. I cannot be the architect of your fall. I beg you, my dear friend, forget the shambler. Your friend, Sarah Hawkins. Not a monster. I'll push her door in.
Another volume of the Reverend's wife's diary.
Oh, I missed the first one, but this is the third one. The volume spends some time on Reverend Wickwood's community. His wife expresses her worries about the strange dreams that the Reverend's congregation are having since their arrival on the island. Some members of the community, her husband included, began to speak of their vision as a messenger sent by God. She is scared that they will suffer the same fate as the lost tribe. And I will be stealing that. Because of course.
A strange Amerindian pendant.
An ancient amulet, probably Amerindian. I wonder what its purpose could be. That gave me occultism. Dissertation on an anatomical question. Dissertation. Why did I say dissertation? Dissertation on anatomical question. It is the work of a student in book form. Although the observations are relevant, they lack the expertise of an experienced physician. However, the questions asked allow us to imagine new ways of exploring human anatomy. Strength! I don't know why that needed strength just for me to pry that open. But I got a key to the gallery. Would you read the book? Can I read the title first? Whoops. Let me talk to say Cat first.
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Another painting by Sarah Hawkins. One connected to the horrors I've discovered on this island.
What a surprise. I'm listening.
Mrs. Sanders knows your real name.
There's more than that, Miss Baker.
So people have been talking behind my back. I was almost beginning to like you, Mr. Pierce. But it stays Cat for you.
You knew the Sanders?
Irene is a friend of mine.
And you? What are you doing here?
And you? What brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say? Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder.
Again, I didn't know that was the progression one because the last one wasn't a progression one.
Go take a hike, detective.
We're reading this book. Malleus Bestiarium, Volume 2. Was there a first one that we missed? It is a kind of encyclopedia of monstrous and unknown creatures. I'm beginning to believe that they exist. I didn't do any of this. October 28th, 1924. Sanders' residence. Shambler is a painting. Irene Sanders doesn't seem to know what she hates the most, Sarah Hawkins or her work. The fact remains that she accuses her of costing her husband's sanity. He apparently gouged his own eyes out under the influence of the painting. I must see it. I have to. The key to his gallery is probably in the office. I already grabbed it. Oh, there was only one other thing. The Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. It's undeniable. The widow didn't tell me everything. Her house speaks for her. Everything began with Francis Sanders' obsession with the Shambler, an exceptional painting in more ways than one. Oh, I got one more point. Nice. Hidden spot. Gotta see that hidden spot. Oh, shut up. I keep forgetting that I have to validate my points. Malleus Bestiarum. Pierce read an ancient treatise, the Malleus Bestiarium. The Bestiary makes an inventory of numerous creatures from the occult world or parallel dimensions. The very nature of its knowledge makes it an unholy book. By reading it, Pierce lost some of his sanity. Thanks. Then we have Dr. Fuller and Irene Sanders. One more character to get added, I guess. Should be Kat. So she is not on my list of people. So I guess it could just give us another page, huh? Dimensional Shambler. The Dimensional Shambler comes from a dark and inhospitable dimension, where the reality of food sources keeps it in a state of permanent starvation. Rarity. This is why it is in a constant state of readiness to travel to other dimensions in order to feed on its inhabitants. Make sure you never weaken the veil of your dimension. Otherwise, you risk attracting this very dangerous creature. Should this happen, you just have to lay eyes upon it for its being to anchor itself in your dimension and to allow it to rip your own with its claws. Okay, that's what I got from reading the book. Got it. Men will gather the knowledge through the lines dictated to me by the great old ones, but also in other volumes. The visions that assail me whisper me names and silhouettes of mythical creatures. Soon, the Malleus Monstrorum, repository of all anatomical, cosmic, and dimensional knowledge, will be seen as the authoritative work. This book, unholy among the most cursed books, will one day be the final rampart between man and the predators that are waiting to devour him, hidden behind the veils of parallel dimensions. And these are all the clues that I've gotten this chapter. These are my key items. Nice. So I'm still annoyed that I couldn't finish my conversation with her. Don't come in. I'm in here. That's a hiding spot.
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
That's the dagger. Which, to be honest, that looks more like a dagger. Pre-Columbian times. Okay, those are glowing. Are those glowing because I'm going insane, or are those glowing because they are glowing? That is also a dagger. Maybe I should take a dagger with me. I'm going to be exploring this place. Oh, come on. What is these paintings?
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
I don't know if any of the others, the Shambler, any of these other ones I can interact with. That's just that other one, but smaller, and that's just the other one, but smaller. Nice. Nice. Oh, just It's another hidey hole. That's oil repository. Are you really bleeding? It's not going away. Oh, okay, hey. Well, why wouldn't you just peel it out of the rock? Alright.
Why was he so interested in old weapons?
Real question is... He has that painting again. Is...
The public entrance to the gallery.
I forgot what the real question was. Oh, am I going to get locked in here and set on fire? By a cat. That's more oil. Why would I need 2 oil fills? Drawing of a dagger. Far from possessing the talents of Sarah Hawkins, Sanders drew a dagger with a... This is pretty good drawing. I don't know what you mean. Drew a dagger with a tortured form down to the smallest detail. The guard carries a strange, esoteric symbol, a recurring feature of his correspondence with Sarah. Okay. Is there anything else in here? Am I good? To look into the I guess that's a good painting.
What the hell was that?
Is it... It is. Eh. Okay. It's very skinny and awkward looking.
I can't even touch it.
Oh, I thought it was blind! Isn't it blind? What? Yeah, skip this.
What the hell was that?
It's blind. Okay, I can't leave. Okay. Oh, it wasn't right here. There it is. So I can't leave. Like, what? I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this thing. Well, I did get 2 extra points. Oh, no. Oh. Oh, am I supposed to look for this? Is that why there are so many daggers?
Damn. Did it hear that?
Okay. So I am supposed to smash and find the daggers. Got it.
What the hell was that?
Oh, wrong button. Let's give this a quick look over again. to see which one I need. So it's the one with 2 blades. Okay. Okay. Alright. I don't know what happens if I'm in here too long. Alright. So it has to be in this room, because it wasn't in that first room. I heard it roar. I don't know if that means it found me. It takes so long. It shambles, obviously. Is it coming? Go!
This dagger looks different.
Okay. So that's the one I needed. Oh, it doesn't add it to my inventory. So now what? It was behind the painting. I probably stabbed the painting? Is he guarding the painting? So I got in too soon, but I don't know if it's okay to come out. Should I just book it? Ooh!
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I mean, yeah. Painting was cursed. I was attacked by a creature. No, I just drank a bit too much. The painting was cursed.
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
What do you mean? You knew about the monster?
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
And you give this information to me free of charge? I feel like I know who she really is, but I'm not gonna say anything.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
Weren't the other two supposed to come with me? Oh, next chapter. But that's it.